Hi, Chris Conway here. I'm here to talk about my new atmospheric music album, Deep Ocean Dreams. There it is. I've just been printing some. And the tagline there is Oceanic Dreamscapes featuring a cornucopia of instruments. And dreamy it is. I've just printed these out, and the tricky part was getting all the horizons to line up, which I did. There will be some wonky ones out there, and they will be collector's items. So if you get a wonky one, treasure it. It'll be far more valuable. And what's different about this album compared to other ones on my Twilight Sky label? I wanted to make this album for a long time. I had the idea, and I've been working towards it on some of the tracks on my previous albums, of just having open stringed instruments and have that over theremin going through harmonizer delays, making a sort of undersea orchestra. And that's what happens throughout the album. I'll show you the stringed instruments. This is my small zither, which was made for me by my good friend Carl Pebbody in the Rain Garden group that we were in years ago. This is nearly quite old, but it records very nicely. And I tend to record it twice throughout the whole track, and then pan one left and pan one right. It makes a gentle rustling sound. And as that's quite a high sound, when I'm using that zither, I use this kantele, which is like it's an electric kantele. There's a pickup there. And I record from the pickup, and I close mic it, and I get both sounds that creates. It's a deeper kind of sound. And that was my plan, to have those throughout and the theremin waft. Then what gave me an extra impetus, a wonderful thing happened. My very good friend Coulson, we'd made 3 albums together, and the last one was on a Twilight Sky label, was the Enchanted Forest, which has done very well, and I can reveal today that I just looked up and it's coming close. One track is getting close to 1 billion streams on Spotify. It's done amazingly well. And she gave me this, a Celtic harp. It's 30 strings, steel strum, and I don't know if I can do this. It's actually got some carved feet. I don't know if you can see them. Aren't they cute? So apparently Mo had too many harps. I mean, what are the odds? Who has too many harps? She does. And she knows that I've been using some of her harp music on certain albums I've asked for. Sometimes she's come over and added a few sprinklings on albums, and sometimes I've just asked for some in E minor Dorian or something, and she sent me some. So she knows I was going to use it, but I'm really thankful to her. So I had to get this on the album. So I've alternated. So on track 1 and 3, it's zither and kantele, and track 2 and 4, it's the Celtic harp, and track 4 is 20 minutes long, as I said. The theremin waft, is it worth talking about? I've been using this setup with the theremin for a long time now, and I've done a couple of albums of theremin through the effects and very little else. And there's one called Electric Skies, and there's another album called Adagio Electric. So check those out if you just want to hear the sound. But this, again, as I said, is underneath all 4 tracks. It goes through these effects. For electronic key friends, I will quickly go over what I put it through. Theremin, single note, monophonic, like a voice really, goes into a ring modulator effect, and I only use that very sparingly if I want to make a sort of white noise sound. Kind of blends in with the waves. Actually, I did use some waves in the beginning and end of the album, a field recording of the ocean. And then from that ring modulator, it goes to this strip here, which is a harmonizer. It's a vocal harmonizer, but it works with the theremin, and it gives you chords out of a single note. You can specify the chord for the piece that you want, and one note will make sort of halo of notes in that key that you choose. From there, it goes to this giga delay, which is this 16 or 24 seconds, what I set it up for, depending on what I want to do with it. So all this wafty chord is coming around every 16 seconds, say. But unlike a looper just will do the same thing over and over again forever. It won't deteriorate. With delays or an echo, it's a little quieter each time it comes back. 16 minutes later the sound comes back, but it's then mixing with new sound, and they slowly get mushed together over the course of a track. And that is one of the things which makes it sound like the ocean. But it finally goes into this effect, which is a funny name of a Muga Fuga Murph, but it's a multiple filter array. And it sort of goes through these frequencies, and it sort of sweeps through the different frequencies over time, and that goes from left to right. And if you put all that together, it makes this very unusual. You might think it's a synthesizer if you didn't know, but it's actually this wafting theremin sound, which I liked a lot. So that's it, really. I also have, I should mention, 2 guests. My good friend Zorpinda Zorpin, who runs the Zorpin electronic label I record with, on voice and tempo bells on first and last track. And my good friend Bridget McMahon from the Gavanan band. She came over from Ireland to add some atmospheric voice on the final track, which really just set it up nicely, added that little extra sparkle. And it also brought to mind the first album I made solo on my Twilight Sky label, which is An Island of Peace, and she sings on that, and there are ocean sounds as well. So there are links to that album, and in a way in feel, and also to my previous album, Earth Magic Traveler, which the final track of that kind of goes into the first track of this, and they share quite a few sounds together. So that's it. It's out on Bandcamp now. You can go and listen to it there. I don't mind. Or you can buy it if you want to. Order a CD or buy the download. Or if you're on the other shops like Spotify, like many people are, it will be out on those other shops on July 16th. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I've really been wanting to make this album for a long time, and it feels really good to have finally carried out my thoughts on it. I have to say, as well as these instruments, yes, there is some bit of keyboard and piano and things, but I've tried to keep it, there's a little theme there in the background with the piano, but it's a very relaxing album, and atmospheric as well. I did test it to see if you can sleep with it, and I did. I put on the master. I was tired, but I do think it's quite good for sleep too, hence the dreams in the title. Thanks a lot for listening, and I hope you enjoy the album. Bye.